Hello, everyone, and welcome in. Grand rising to one and all. Okay, let's get right into it. So, the files are, the bill is on his desk, right? For President Trump to sign off on it or try to veto it. I'm talking about the Epstein files, my brothers and sisters, boys and girls across the world. We are here at this pivotal moment. They've been sitting on President Donald Trump's desk since last night. He said as soon as, I'm referring to the president, President Donald Trump said as soon as those files or that bill hit his desk, that he would sign it. But why has he been putting up such a fight? Now, yesterday I told you all that he planned to move, right? He jumped into a loophole that he might use to hold back on releasing the files or releasing the whole files without any redactations, without it being redacted, right? So that is what I talked to you all about yesterday morning, his loophole that he might use, because remember, he called for the investigation of former President Bill Clinton and other Democrats. And so that is a loophole that he may use to try to get the files redacted or have the files put on hold again, okay? Because if there is any other investigation regarding people who are mentioned in the files can be put on hold. But just to give you guys a quick update on what is going on, the files have, the bill has been put on the president's desk, and it has been sitting there since last night. Let's get into it.
Well, this is a live look at the White House. It is just after 7 p.m. there. The bill that would release the Justice Department's documents on Jeffrey Epstein and his sex trafficking ties is now on President Trump's desk.
President Trump had previously said he will sign the bill. It comes a day after Congress voted to release the documents. So what happens now?
Our news reporter Jory Rand is live in our newsroom to tell us all about it. Jory?
Well, guys, the bill was sent to the White House hours ago. President Trump has said he would sign it as soon as it hit his desk, but we still have no word on whether he's even looked at it. This is something President Trump has fought against for months, repeatedly calling it a Democratic hoax. But shortly before it went to a vote, the president changed his stance, saying the files could be released, but that can't happen until he signs it. The House and Senate passed the bill to release the Epstein files with just a single no vote between the two chambers, and the bill has been ready for President Trump to sign for hours. The president has until December 1st to sign it, and once that happens, the files must be released within 30 days.
We'll keep the pressure up, pressure for the president to sign, and then pressure on the DOJ to release the full, unredacted files. No hiding, no game playing, no covering up.
There's concern that the full files won't actually be released. The identities of victims will be redacted, but so will information that is part of any current investigations. There were none of those until President Trump told the Department of Justice to investigate Democrats, something the Attorney General had previously said there was no need for. She was asked today what changed.
Information that has come for there's information new information, additional information.
Even if they do these, what seem to be partisan investigations, that's another thing that bothers me about the announcement the president made is he named Democrats. And so this shouldn't be about political divides. So I hope that was sort of a bluff, and I hope that the DOJ will release all the files.
I do think that there has not been a shift in Trump's desire to have this information out. I think that he has another way to keep it hidden.
There have already been consequences of the files released. Former Treasury Secretary and President of Harvard, Larry Summers, is stepping back from public commitments, including from the board of OpenAI, over his continued relationship with Epstein.
Larry Summers has shown terrible judgment. I mean, like historically bad judgment in his relationship with Mr. Epstein after it was publicly known about Mr. Epstein's criminal violations with underage girls.
Summers told his Harvard class yesterday he would continue to teach. We'll see if he's allowed to do so. In the meantime, we now await the president's signature. He is allowed to veto that bill, but it would likely be overridden in Congress, and it would be extremely damaging to him politically. Live in the newsroom, Jory Rand, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Yeah, as we continue to wait and see, Jory, thank you for that.
So you heard the bill is sitting on the president's desk. We haven't heard anything. It's, morning. Will he sign off on the release of the file? But he's been fighting it tooth and nail. Why? Why? We know why. They're hiding the most prestigious, if you will, wrong choice of words, but sex trafficking ring in America. This is the top-notch sex trafficking ring that probably still is in effect, making them millions upon if not billions of dollars, and also releasing their adrenochrome and everything else they use to get high off of the souls of children. Okay? So I also want to let you know that the chips are falling, okay? The chips are falling where they may. So President Donald Trump's former spiritual advisor has been arrested. That's right. Now, what is so just crazy when these people like to play with semantics, when they like to play word games, they have been using young ladies. Oh, these young ladies. These are children. You understand? That were molested. But they play these word games as if that's going to soften the blow. So let's get right into, we'll get back to Donald Trump here in a minute about these files being on his desk. Well, not the files, but the bills. You know what I'm saying? But his former spiritual advisor just was arrested, and he had the nerve to say that he, it was a young lady. When this was a child, you understand me? A child he had molested at the age of 12. Started a little bit earlier than that. But he has been arrested. Let's get him on the walk of shame. We'll let you see.
I'm just happy that it is over. I feel good about it. It's behind us. What does this feel like? I don't know that I have words.
Oh, yeah. They are falling. The house of the petties, the house of the pedophiles are falling, okay? As they should. As they should. The house of the pedophiles are falling. And so you just witnessed the walk of shame in handcuffs as former President Trump's spiritual, Lord have mercy, spiritual, and I put emphasis on spiritual, because what kind of spirit was he getting his advice from? It had to be Satan himself. He has been arrested. Okay, let's get you the full report.
One of the ways Donald Trump won the 2016 election was through the complete embrace of him by evangelicals, both the base and pastors and leaders in that movement. One of the most prominent is a pastor named Robert Morris. He founded a Texas megachurch in Southlake, Texas. Morris was also a spiritual advisor to Trump while he was in the White House. Here he is in the Rose Garden in 2020, just a few rows behind where then Supreme Court nominee Amy Coney Barrett's family and the First Lady are about to sit. And here is Trump visiting Morris's church earlier that summer, giving his personal assessment of the man.
So I want to thank Pastors Robert Morris and Steve Dullen. They're great people. Great people with a great reputation, I have to say that. Great reputation. And Gateway Church, the team has been incredible in hosting us. And I'd now like to ask Pastor Morris and Bishop Jackson to lead us in prayer.
Well, Robert Morris just resigned from his church following allegations that he sexually abused a child. In a statement to an evangelical news site, Morris said he was involved in an inappropriate sexual behavior with a young lady. Those are his words. He didn't mention that the young lady in question was a 12-year-old girl. In his statement, Trump's one-time spiritual advisor admitted he continued to molest the child on, quote, several occasions over the next few years. Mike Hixenbaugh is a senior investigative reporter for NBC News who's been all over this story. He writes about Pastor Morris in his book, They Came for the Schools, One Town's Fight Over Race and Identity and the New War for America's Classrooms. And he joins me now. Mike, this is something that happened a long time ago that we are learning about now. Take us through how this came out.
Well, last week, the survivor in this case, Cindy Clemishire, who has tried telling the story in different ways for years, came forward in a blog post and spelled out in very clear detail how when she was 12 years old on Christmas in 1982, Pastor Morris, who was a family friend then, a young traveling evangelist, invited her into his room where he was the guest room at her house and proceeded to molest her, the first of several instances where he would do that over the next 4.5 years. And as you mentioned in the lead-in, Pastor Morris and Gateway Church responded initially by saying, this is an old sin. Pastor Morris has addressed this moral failure of this relationship with a young lady. And, he's repented, and this has been taken care of. Flash forward a few days, there was a lot of pressure around this when people started pointing out, yeah, the young lady was 12. That's a child. And yesterday he resigned from the church that he founded 20-plus years ago.
Now, he had been telling a sort of story about a kind of redemption arc, about stepping away from the ministry in the 1980s because he had been confronted by the then girl's father at that time. Is that right?
That's right. And I've been talking with, former Gateway members and former pastors at the church. They talk about how he talked about this story all the time. And it became kind of like a signature part of his biography that he had this moral failing when he was young. And it was around sexual immorality with, again, a young lady. In some tellings, he would describe himself almost as a victim, saying that the young lady had a Jezebel spirit and had tempted him, and in fact that she's the one that made it continue. He tried to stop it, and she made it continue. So he tells these stories as a way of saying you should be open about your sin and come forward. But in reality, we now know he was covering and papering over the reality of child sexual abuse, which is, a crime.
He also has been quite a prominent member of the evangelical movement, politically influential. I mean, this is not just there are obviously many evangelical pastors, thousands, probably tens of thousands in this country. This is a particularly connected and powerful individual.
Absolutely. Yes, Trump's spiritual advisor. He's really leaned into the idea of, advocating for a restoration of Christian morality in America through Republican politics. And so you see that with him inviting Glenn Beck to speak from the pulpit at his church and being aligned with Donald Trump. I write about extensively in the book. He's also gotten very engaged over the last few years with kind of warning about the dangers children face in schools. And this, I want to emphasize this, the survivor here in this case, Cindy, doesn't want this story to become just about politics. She's very primarily concerned with Robert Morris not being in leadership and kind of attacking the culture that allows this to permeate. But at the same time, lots of other people have watched as people like Robert Morris have warned that teachers and school librarians are a danger to children because, and have used the language that they're grooming children because they have books on their shelves. Morris has preached about that from the pulpit. and endorse specific school board candidates who would fight against this Satan's work in school libraries. People who saw that play out are really frustrated and outraged now, knowing he's pointing at school librarians. Some of these books that were being targeted actually are literature that describe grooming as a way of helping kids understand what warning signs to watch out for. And so to have him be standing in the pulpit warning about this, given his history, has been a lot really difficult for people to process. And there's a lot of anger, both among survivors and educators who've been targeted by this rhetoric.
Yeah, I would note in 2017, as you reported, he called on parishioners to support a bill pitched by Texas Governor Greg Abbott, a Republican, as a way to, quote, protect the safety of women and children that would have banned transgender people from using public bathrooms that correspond with their genders. Important to protect children from sexual abuse. On that, I agree. Mike Hixenbaugh, thank you very much.
Thanks, Chris.
Mike's excellent new book, They Came for the Schools, One Town's Fight Over.
Well, hey, there you have it. The house of the pedophiles crumbling. Do you hear me? The house of the petties is crumbling. You have the former spiritual advisor to President Donald Trump arrested for messing with a child, not a young lady, and it still would be sick for them to even try to put them in the class of young lady. They pedophiles and they coming down, okay? Yeah, they have marked themselves. They have marked themselves. So we're gonna see, y'all. We're gonna see. Trump has until December the 1st to sign off on releasing the Epstein files. It's sitting on his desk. The bill is sitting on his desk. He has until December the 1st to sign off, but he has jumped through a loophole trying to get people indicted. Republicans, Democrats, which he could have did when he first, was on the campaign trail talking about he could have got these Democrats, started naming people's names off then, but did he do it? No, because he wasn't president and he wasn't privy to those files. So he knows now who's in there and who's in jeopardy. That's right. So now you got your president trying to hide pedophiles, was talking to a pedophile, getting his spiritual advice from a pedophile. He's been surrounded by petties. The petties is coming down. We gonna see y'all. Y'all stay tuned. I get some more news that you can use. I will be coming back to you this evening. We on the case. Double tap your screen. Go ahead and get the thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel today. Also become a member to the channel. Support the work, okay? Support the work. Let's get these pedophiles off the streets and out of the White House and corporate industries, okay? They trying to rule the world, but I tell you one thing, the light is shining and they are being shown for who they are. I'm out, and much, much love.